Fantastic. We have been on a hero's journey here at Unity North starting the first of the year. We've been walking on a hero's journey, and last week on Easter we claimed a treasure. We got a treasure, and we finally faced the final dragon, the diving board, into the pool of possibility. And there comes a time, as the song said beautifully, where we have to pause. We have to stop. We've been driving, we've been moving, we've been stirring, we've been so very active, and there comes a time where the hero must, to be successful, to anchor the treasure in their heart, breathe. So there comes a time on the hero's journey when we have to put down the swords, the internal and external swords that have gotten us to our destination, and pick up a different weapon. Today, this is our weapon. You all want to do a little cleaning house today? When you get to the place of the breath, the pause to reflect upon your hero's path that led you to this moment, there comes an inevitable time where we have to clean the cobwebs out of the consciousness. Where we have to clean the cobwebs out of our heart and out of our spirit and out of our soul. And we have to let it go. How many people here have issues? Issues with family, issues with boss, issues with your minister. You know what? We are a population, a human population with issues. And we all have issues. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that fantastic? We share issues. On this human journey, walking this face of this planet, we all are having basically the same kinds of issues. The time comes on a hero's journey to look at those issues and go, they don't serve me anymore. It's time to clear them out. But we do it together. So we share. There's a place of oneness in the issues that we share, and there's a more powerful place of oneness in the issues that we release and let go of. How many would be okay today if your life just got a little bit sweeter, a little bit nicer, a little bit more issue-free? All right. Charles Fillmore, he's the co-founder of the Unity Movement, said there is a sure remedy for everything. Everything on the planet. All the issues individually, all the issues collectively. You know what it might be? Sit down for 20 minutes. 20 minutes every day. Find a cushion, sit down, and forgive everybody everything. Forgive everybody everything. Oh, not that person. No. That one hurt me too badly. No, forgive everybody everything. Oh, no, not that politician. No, they're beyond forgiveness. No, the sure remedy to remove the issues from your life, the challenges in your life, is to forgive everybody everything for 20 minutes a day. That's your meditation practice, and life will become heaven on earth because it's a constant process of clearing away the cobwebs, of raising the weapon of choice, which is to remember who I am and to remember who I am not. Jesus knew this. Jesus absolutely knew this. On the spiritual path, we have to come to that place of getting rid of the issues, or we don't have access to God. We're not going to have access to the love that we are seeking, to the hero's completion of his journey that we are seeking, or she is completing. This is what he had to say in the book of Matthew. I invite you to read it with a powerful voice with me together. So when you are offering your gift at the altar, if you remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First, be reconciled to your brother or sister, and then come and offer your gift. Plain and simple. This high intellect, this amazing spiritual intellect said, and he said to Peter, put the sword down. That's last week's story. Put the sword down and get a broom and start cleaning house. Start cleaning house. Stop cleaning house, because you come to the altar with the idea that you're going to experience the vast miracle of life and love and peace and harmony in God, and he's saying, you don't have it. If you don't pick this up, you don't clean business behind you, you're not going to have access to it. You're going to have a piece of it. You might taste a little bit of it, but you're not going to get the banquet table. So he's clearly telling us that forgiveness is really, really, really essentially important. In fact, forgiveness was the cornerstone of the man's whole ministry. You want to boil everything he talked about? Love and forgiveness. That's it. And if we lived that, we would be okay. There was a conference I read about in an article this week, a Jewish conference held by rabbis from all over the country. And they invited about 500-600 people to come partake in a conference about forgiveness. And they started one of the rabbis started the whole conference with this question. How many of you sitting here, 500 or 600 people, first cousin or closer to you, have the issue of at least 2 family members who have not spoken to each other over a resentment? 66% of the people put their hand up. 2/3 of the people in that small little microcosm said, yeah, there's issues in my family. Now, I know one thing I know about microcosms. When I can see it at the fine point, it is an indication that something is growing and festering, and is absolutely true at the macrocosmic level. That if it's happening in your family, it's happening worldwide. It's happening internationally. It's happening nationally. It's happening in our community. Breathe that in for a second. It's amazing to me that we treat cancer. Somebody gets a cancer diagnosis in their body, and we, as a community, as family, as friends, rush in. We rush in. 10,000 modalities. Let's go after the cancer. Let's go after it. Let's treat it. Let's be together. Let's pray about it. Let's hold sacred space together. Yet the cancer that is resentment and unforgiveness, oh, let's not talk about it. I don't talk to that person anymore. I'm just going to fester in my victimhood. I'm going to fester in a toxic energy and hold the sword for anybody who will listen about what an SOB that person is over there. We've created a system of other. That doesn't work. The cleaning of the house needs to happen. But it's happening in our country. Make no mistake about it. It's happening everywhere in the human population, and the time has come for the hero to pause, to stop, to breathe, and go, I got some work to do. I've got some work to do. And if you think it's somebody else's responsibility, I'm asking you to think again. Somebody else will make the amends. On a hero's journey, the hero is the first person who takes a step back and says there might be something greater that wants to emerge here. On a hero's journey, the hero will be the first person that steps forward and puts out a hand of love and forgiveness. To come back to the place of reunion, which is what religion was intended to do, to re-legion, to bring people back together. Yet most of the religious people on the planet are the ones that are holding the place of not talking to somebody else. Because they're wrong, they're bad, they're evil, they hurt me, they hurt somebody else. So the gauntlet has been thrown down, or at least the broom. A broom with a view. Thought you might appreciate that. A broom with a view of possibility of what can be if we start cleaning our house. We start spending some time taking care of business and pause and breathe on the hero's journey. Because the altar of God will never be available to you if you're holding that place in your heart. So we're going to enter 3 doors today. 3 doors. We're going to go into 3 different rooms. 3 different doors of consciousness, externally and internally, to see where there might be some cleaning, some spring cleaning needed. Do we have some doors up there? I looked forever to find that picture of 3 doors. Okay. Okay, applaud. Door number 1. I feel like Monty Hall. Behind door number 1 is an awareness of the hurt that I have caused anybody on my journey. The hurt that I have caused. And I'm going to use a Buddhist prayer. This is from a Buddhist prayer. This is the beginning of the prayer. Please read it with me. For those I have hurt knowingly or unknowingly in thought, word, or deed, I ask forgiveness. You know, sometimes when you're on a heroic path and you're getting things done, that's what we do as heroes, and you're moving and you're grooving and you're shaking and you're making stuff happen and you're getting rid of dragons and you're finding treasure as you're going into caves, and you're doing it with such passion and such enthusiasm that you forget to take stock that there may have been a few people that you ran over to get here. There may have been some people that you ran through or stepped right over. I'm not saying it was, not inadvertent, but sometimes we do it very, very consciously. And if our hero's treasure is going to be of any value at all, if what we have gained and collected internally and externally as a hero is going to last, I've got to stop, breathe, pay attention, and go make reparations. I've got to go offer a few things to these people. We're so eager to accomplish our dreams that sometimes we run over people in the way. So, here's the cleanup crew. There's a cleanup crew. Can we put that slide up there? These are the divine ideas that need to be in play. Go back 2 slides. There we go. These are the things that are on my cleanup crew. You can pick any one of them. They're going to serve you really, really well. Let's read them together. Kindness, generosity, gratitude, responsibility, humility, vulnerability, understanding. I want you to choose one. That's your divine idea showing up as you. And then I want you to choose another one, the one that causes you to go, oh, maybe not that one. That's the one that you need to hire on your cleanup crew. It takes a great deal of vulnerability and humility to own and be responsible for your actions, for the path and the trail that is behind you, and to make cleanups. So we're in door number 1. We got to own. First and foremost, all healing begins with owning what is my part. What is my part? And that takes a great deal of humility. And then go offer apology. Go offer an apology, but talk is cheap. The Jewish tradition celebrates every single year the celebrations of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. They dedicate an entire holiday to forgiveness, which means there must be recompense. Talk is cheap. Yes, apologize. Now share some of the treasure that you got in the cave. Share some of the good. Share some of the wealth. Share some of the knowledge. Share some of the sweet goodness that you have found with those who have helped you get here. You see, you don't stand at the pinnacle at the top of the mountain alone. There's a whole bunch of people, and some of them you don't even recognize. Go back, bring the treasure home, and say, thank you. Gratitude becomes part of the cleanup crew. And if it was a public affront, guilty as charged, it must be a public apology. You cannot publicly hurt somebody, humiliate somebody, embarrass somebody, and then not publicly say, I blew it. I screwed up here. I need to clean up stuff a little bit. Are you willing to sit down with me and clean it up? How often do you do that? How often do you do that? What did the master teacher tell us? 7 times 70. What does that mean? 7 times 70. As long as it takes. As long as it takes. It's a number of completion. So you go back and you make those reparations and those amends until it is complete and done. Now, the Jewish people will tell you a little differently. The Jewish people say 3 times. After the 3rd time, you are now freed of the burden. You are freed of that energy. Now it's on them if they don't receive it or accept it. Find the number that works for you. Find the method that works for you. Because your treasure on the journey to come to a place of reunion will be an ethereal, energetic one. Now we'll put that other slide up there. The one about, there you go. Read it with me, please. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Your treasure is not in what you have gained from the hero's journey. The treasure is who you have become on the hero's journey. The hero is who you have created community with when you reach back and say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. There's a 4th one to the Ho'oponopono. Come on. I love you. How could I forget that one? Ho'oponopono is making ownership. It's taking ownership and coming back to that person that may not even know that you did anything wrong, but you know it. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. 4 short statements and 4 of the most difficult things to say because you're afraid that they're not going to receive them. You're cleaning up the energy here and here. Out here will take care of itself, always. Jesus said, lay up your treasures in heaven. Where is your treasure? Ask the question. Let's enter door number 2. Door number 2, the second part of the Buddhist prayer. Let's read it together. For those that have hurt me, knowingly or unknowingly, in thought, I freely forgive. So sometimes it's easier to ask for forgiveness. But then there's the list. Anybody have a little list? It's like from the Mikado. As someday it may happen that a victim must be found. I've got a little list. I've got a little list of society offenders who might well be underground, who never will be missed, who never will be missed. That's the song of the Lord High Executioner, who's got a sword in his hand and said, let me take care of all the people who have hurt me. Off with their heads. I'm saying put down the sword and pick up a broom and clean up what needs to be cleaned up in you. If you're holding a place of resentment, you are adding to the resentment of the whole world. If you're holding a place of anger, you're allowing yourself to be victimized again and again and again and again. And what happened to you may have been horrendous. It may have been awful. But cause and effect are never separated by time and space. I want you to hear that. Cause and effect are not separated by time and space. What happened to you 10 years ago is not the cause of your current suffering, however bad it was. What somebody said to me 10 minutes ago is not the cause of my current suffering. It is my thought about it. It is what I'm holding in my hand, a sword or a broom. It is grounding myself in knowing who I am, that nobody can touch the divine essence of my being, my light, and my Christ. And that is the place that offering forgiveness comes from, because there is nothing easy about feeling like you're erasing what somebody did to you. Anybody feel like that? They're getting away with something. They're getting away with murder. They're getting off the hook. We got some cleaning to do there in consciousness. If we cannot behold the face of God everywhere present, then our first unity principle does not stand on anything at all. There's one power, there's one presence, there's one goodness, there's one magnificence in, through, around, and expressed as all people, even the ones that hurt us. I want you to hear that. And if you can't see that, 20 minutes every day, sitting on a cushion, first forgiving yourself for holding that kind of anger and hatred and allowing yourself to be victimized. C.S. Lewis talks about souvenirs of hell. This is not the best example, but we have stones in our pocket. And somebody did something to us, and we put it in our pocket so we can remember it. Yep. Oh, and then somebody over here hurt me. Let me get that stone, and let me put it in this pocket. Oh, and then somebody said something that was really rude and obnoxious, and put it in this pocket. Oh, and then somebody did something, and the next thing you know, you're on your knees, cursing the entire world for how they victimized you, and the only person victimizing you is you. Because you've carried them with you for the rest of your life. And a time comes where those stones have to be let go of. You have to let them go, and let me tell you, the freedom that comes from that is transformative. And suddenly, and believe me, I had a long, long list. I still have a list. But I'm working on it. And every person who comes off that list frees my soul to a greater expression of God. Every person who I release from that list opens up a part of me that there is more love in my life. Cause and effect, plain and simple. I become the cause of my current reality. I am the cause, not what somebody did to me. I will not forever live the life of a victim anymore, because there's something more magnificent that wants to happen through me and as me. And it's okay to clap for that and applaud for that. Thank you, Winifred. Forgiveness moves us from victimhood to happiness. Forgiveness will be your key to happiness. Not coming to church, although it helps. Not studying another book, not reading the Bible, not reading the Bhagavad Gita, not going to another workshop, certainly not sitting in a restaurant moaning and groaning about how that person wronged you. You ever notice that there's an army of people that will love to support you being a victim? I'm saying be the change you want to see, because we have a cancer in our culture, in our humanity, on earth. I'm asking you to be as aggressive with the cancer that exists called resentment, duality, hatred, anger, prejudice, whatever it is. You probably have a long list of reasons. Let the reasons go, and go after that cancer the same way you would go after a cancer in your body. Aggressively, purposefully, mindfully, and completely and totally awake. And that begins by cleaning house. This is what the Gospel of Thomas has to say. We have that up there. The Gnostic Gospel of Thomas is my favorite of the Gnostic Gospels. Let's read it together. If two make peace with each other in a single house, they will say to the mountain, move from here, and it will move. There are people sitting here today that I absolutely know saying, you have no idea what was done to me. You have no idea how painful that was, and yes, I do. I was not in your shoes. I was not in your skin. But I know that there are horrendous, awful things that have happened to you. And I do know that more horrendous than what happened to you is the burden of carrying it for the rest of your life. And coming to the end of your life and never having released it. never touching the face of God. I desperately want for you to touch the face of the God. I want you to help me do it by burning lists, by pulling out a broom and putting down the swords and saying, it does not define me. It will not define me. And I will release that person in their unconsciousness and in their asleepness, because I cannot make exceptions to where I find the face of God. Amen? Door number 3. Let's go to the door. This will be a quicker door. Together, for all those who have forgotten who they are, I offer forgiveness. You know, there's a fallacy that some of us believe that second, third, fourth, fifth-hand resentment is okay. It's just as toxic as first-hand resentment. And there are a bunch of people right now in this country walking around resenting people who did nothing to them. They said something. You heard it secondhand. You heard it third hand. And we go to the restaurant and we share the story. And I've never met Joe Blow over there. But Joe Blow hurt Mary, who is a friend of Bob's, and Bob's a friend of mine. And so let's gather together and let's hate together. Oh, how about this one? We turn on the news at night and we take a look at the political scene of the United States of America. Second, third, fourth-hand hate is just as toxic as first-hand resentment. And perhaps the souvenirs of hell are even heavier to carry. And if you think it's on one side of the aisle or the other, you're sadly mistaken. Hate is rampant. Cancer is rampant in our nation. It is rampant in our humanity. And the time has come to clean up energy. And I'm saying, be the change you want to see. It's an easy road. It is such an easy road when somebody's gathering you into a gossip and gathering you into duality and to hate and to blaming. Oh, this person or that person, this politician or that politician. It's really easy to jump on in, and the easy road is the fastest road to hell. I don't want to live in hell. I want to live in heaven, and the fastest road to heaven is to be the love in the midst of the hate, to be the light in the midst of the darkness, as our song said, to be the instrument for something greater, to put down the sword, pick up the broom, and say, hey, let's clean house together. Build community by cleaning house. And you guess what? Some people may leave the environment. Goodbye. Goodbye. People who don't want to play in love, one of two things will happen. They will leave your environment or they will transform before your very eyes. That's what the Christ did. That's what the Buddha did. That's what we are called to do. The time is now. As we said last week, the 7 last words of Jesus on the cross and the misinterpretation of the Aramaic when he said, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing, is more accurately translated as remove the root of my suffering. Cause and effect are not separated by time and space. The cause of your suffering is a present now moment. Your thought, your feeling, your actions, you are the cause of the reality. I'm saying choose heaven. And when you find the ego mind going to, let's get them, bam, that politician, bam, that politician, bam, that minister, bam. I feel like Broomhilda today. Resist that human urge and allow something more powerful to emerge within you, the power of love that says, I don't choose that anymore. I choose to be a conduit for change. I chose to clean house here, here, and here, and to allow the Garden of Eden to come back into our experience, because it's that close. But you must be the change that you want to see. We're going to end our time and go into a time of meditation. I invite you to repeat after me the words of the Ho'oponopono and to think about a government official, perhaps. Think about the person that has wronged you. To think about what you have done to another. And to offer these words. Repeat after me. I'm sorry. Again. I'm sorry. Put that face right there in front of you. Together, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Please. Thank you. And the most powerful words on the planet. I love you. I don't care how horrendous the act was. I love you heals. I love you will always have its way. The end of our Buddhist prayer, we'll take this into meditation, into a song. Together, May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free. That is the room with a view that I want you to pick up this week. To leave this space and this time not with, well, that was entertaining. The minister had a broom and made a joke. But to take the broom and pick it up and start cleaning house. We're in the springtime, the time of spring cleaning. Don't just let it be a theory. Let it be alive in you. Let's take that into our meditation.